The firm was founded in 1916 by Judge Morrison and Mr. Kelly, who at the time Judge Morrison was a judge in Johnson City, but practiced law here in Kingsport. Mr. Kelly was a corporate lawyer who came in with some of the developers, and they eventually brought in Mr. Penn, so it was Morrison, Kelly, and Penn. But the firm was founded in 1916 by Morrison and Kelly. In 1917, the firm chartered the city of Kingsport. Kingsport had been around since 1761 as a residence, so to speak, or a location, but was not chartered until the developers came in 1917. Our firm represented, for the most part, the developers of Kingsport. Kingsport is a planned city. There were a number of developers who came in related to the wood alcohol plant on the river that became Eastman Chemical, the paper mill that still exists today, it's now Domtar, and other industrial entities. Our firm represented virtually all of them initially, and we continued to represent a number of them today. And we're fortunate to be involved in that. We have also, over the years, represented the city of Kingsport in various matters, and individuals who work for the city of Kingsport. And we also have been fortunate to have been involved not only as Kingsport representative, but as the law firm that was involved with Tri-City Airport, and specifically creating the Tri-Cities Airport Authority in 2012. We had to actually write legislation that was passed by the Tennessee General Assembly to allow that formation to occur. Over the years, we have also represented individuals and small businesses, and continue to do so today. Well, I think we had the right people in the right place at the right time, and represented, the developers, and then, various companies that are literally still around today. We have a long history with employers in Kingsport. We have had a labor relations practice since the National Labor Relations Act was passed in the 30s, and we have represented management. We also have had a continuing insurance defense practice over the years, and represented a number of insurance companies. And although we've branched out now in the last 10 years, and we do individual, personal injury cases and stuff like that as well. We've been very fortunate to have had good people, smart people, who have nurtured the firm and who have brought it along. We had Mr. Smith, who was, the firm is now Hunter, Smith & Davis, obviously. Mr. Hunter was deceased when I came with the firm in '75, but Mr. Smith and Mr. Davis were still actively practicing law, and they've been around for a long time. Mr. Smith served as a delegate to two Tennessee constitutional conventions. Mr. Davis was very prominent in the insurance defense practice area, and they were very instrumental in moving the firm along. Ed Norris was a labor relations lawyer who was managing partner of the firm when I came to the firm in '75. Played a very prominent role in representing Mason-Dixon Truck Lines and other companies along the way. And under Ed's leadership, our office at the time was up Eastman Road, probably a quarter of a mile from here. But we built this building in Kingsport, and we subsequently branched out under his leadership to Johnson City. And we play a role over there as well. Mr. Norris and Mr. Hunter were the counsel for Kingsport Press during the entire Kingsport Press strike, well, before and after. And the firm played a frontline role on behalf of management during that strike. And if you've read the stories and the books about that strike, it was an unpleasant experience for everybody involved. And there are still scars from that today, even though Kingsport Press is, no longer around. But we played a very prominent role, and as we have in representing management in other strikes in East Tennessee and Southwest Virginia, and even in Eastern Kentucky over the years. Well, I was in the right place at the right time, I suppose. I went on the board of the Kingsport Chamber of Commerce in 1978, and remained on the board or as an officer or director for many years. I'm currently on the Chamber Foundation board. But in the fall of 1980, and I hope I'm correct in that, the Chamber Board of Directors held a retreat at Wolf Laurel over in North Carolina. And at that point in time, Frank Brewer, who is recently deceased, was very prominent in the Chamber, very prominent in the community. The community was pretty divided. It was Colonial Heights against the city, and there were a lot of bad feelings all around. And we had a storyboarding session, and Frank or Bill Ring or Wendell Kirk or other people threw out the idea that we have some sort of a festival to foster community unity, and that was the term to be used. And so we liked that idea, and the Chamber Foundation, or rather the Chamber Board of Directors, came back and went to the more prominent businesses in town, Eastman and at that time ASG Glass and Mead Paper at that time, and asked them, along with others, to support the idea of this summer festival. They bought into it. And as a result, I believe '81 was the first year that we had FunFest, and for a number of years, up until 1989, we were lucky enough to get loaned executives from these companies who served as FunFest coordinators at obviously no charge to FunFest or the Chamber Foundation. Kingsport Chamber Foundation was created to be a vehicle to receive funding from the community for FunFest and other various charitable events or projects. So people could make contributions to the foundation. It's a 501c3 and receive tax credit for it. And so the foundation became the vehicle for FunFest thereafter. And the Chamber basically had a management contract with the Chamber Foundation and ran FunFest. It's kind of flip-flop now, but for various reasons. But the point is that it became very successful. And I was vice chair of FunFest in '88. I was chairman of FunFest in '89 and continued in it for a couple more years after that. And it grew into something that nobody ever anticipated it would grow into. And it's still successful today. Well, the Kingsport Chamber Foundation was created as a charitable institution that could do the educational and charitable activities that a tax-exempt organization can engage in and receive contributions for support of these projects. Not only did the Chamber Foundation get involved in FunFest to receive contributions and support for FunFest, but of course the Santa Train's been around for a long time. And when the Santa Train became nationally prominent, people would make contributions to the Santa Train to purchase the toys and the school supplies and the other things that were provided to the children as the train came down from Kentucky through Southwest Virginia to Kingsport. and so the foundation received those donations, and ultimately, of course, the foundation created the Santa Train scholarships, and so that money that was received contributed to the Santa Train. And not utilized in the actual operations that particular year. We put it in an account and let it build up, and then we started providing scholarships to graduating seniors, mostly from Southwest Virginia, and maybe a few from Eastern Kentucky as well, who live along the route of the Santa Train. And so it's the foundation has been a vehicle for a lot of community unity and goodwill and educational and charitable activities over the years. We've had a couple people involved. I was on one of the committees, what they call the big project committee or whatever, and was fortunate to be involved in that. And so I'm excited about where that's going. I'm not sure exactly where it'll end up, but you know, it has a lot of momentum now, and it's something that needs to be done. I think that there are some changes that need to be made in Kingsport, and you know, not unlike the situation that existed back in the early '80s, that where FunFest was created. You know, there's some unity issues now and some other issues that need to be addressed, and the One Kingsport project or movement is a good thing, and hopefully will address some of those issues. Well, the first thing that needs to be done is that, and I think this will happen, is that the city of Kingsport needs to continue to maintain the excellent school system. You know, people do not, I believe, appreciate just how good the school system, not just the city system, but also Sullivan County and some of the surrounding school systems really are. You know, Dobyns-Bennett is listed yearly as one of the best high schools in the country. And, you know, the AP programs that they have had at Dobyns-Bennett over the years have been tremendously successful, and have allowed students to literally, you know, go to college the first year and have a whole year of college credit, in some cases starting as freshmen. So the city needs to maintain the public schools and enhance them, and the city has done a good job of that. What I would like to see is, and there has been a movement on this as well, to make sure that there is a range of housing within the city that will attract and maintain the professionals and others who work in the area industries and businesses, and reduce to some degree anyway the need for there to be so many commuters in and out of the city. I know Mayor Clark is very concerned about that. He's expressed that on numerous occasions. And you know, hopefully some of the apartment activity, some of the other building projects for single-family residences in various areas and income strata will stabilize the people and keep people here. It's vitally important to have people who work here and who manage here live here. And hopefully the One Kingsport program and the other things going on with private development will allow for that. The higher education center downtown has been a great thing. You know, you don't have to go, you don't have to drive anywhere. You can, you know, get, you know, a lot of college credits by just driving downtown and parking your car. And so that's been a great thing, and that needs to be fostered by the city as well. The need for a range of housing options. If you get that, then you get people staying here, then the demographics of Kingsport change a little bit. You know, we obviously could do with more restaurants and more retail. And, you know, when you can show, you know, a national restaurant chain or a national retail chain that your population is moving in a direction that fits their targets, then, you know, that's a good thing, and that encourages development and the creation of jobs. So, you know, it's all tied together, but, you know, there just has to be additional movement. And I think there's some really positive things going on right now. Well, I think that's true, and the other point to be made, and it's related to the professionals and the workforce that you know, work at the various industries and larger businesses. Those people tend to eventually branch out, and even if they remain employed at the larger companies, they develop small businesses on their own. You know, the Cosby program of the Chamber has done a great job, you know, encouraging small businesses, entrepreneurs to move forward, and you know, so you know, give the Chamber credit. They've done a great job on that and continue to do so. Excellent. Well, it's just been interesting. I think we have, you know, the growth of the firm has paralleled the growth of Kingsport. You know, you look at the number of lawyers we had in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, we have grown as Kingsport grew, and so it's been, we parallel the city. We have been very fortunate to have a client base that's been stable, and you know, we've had the opportunity to do some kind of neat things over the years for not just clients but for the city as well. I know when Dobbins Bennett was built in the 60s, Ed Norris, who was managing partner, I think I mentioned him earlier, he was on the school board. And, but as it turned out after that, you know, the roof leaked. And there was all kinds of litigation involved with the leaky roof on the dome. And eventually we became involved in that as well on behalf of the city. So, you know, it was, and the parties involved in the case. And so we've kind of paralleled the city and its growth and so on over the years. We are very fortunate to have moved to Kingsport when we did. My wife taught AP chemistry at Dobbins Bennett for 32 years and retired not too long ago. And we're very fortunate to live in this area of the country. And Kingsport's been very good to us, and it's good to the other people who live here. It's a great place to live.